Hello, Sharpies. I'm Tom Cunningham,
I'm
I'm
Joy Stevens.
I'm Jermaine Taylor.
and this is Steel Sharp and Steel on You're Not Buying Anything Tomorrow Eve.
Yes.
On the next to last day of Black History Month, this is our friendly reminder for all the Sharpies. We're going to say it and at the end of the show as well. Tomorrow is Blackout Day. And for those viewers who are unmelanated in allyship, you can also choose not to
Mhm.
shop tomorrow because we are going to make our financial impact felt. We've already had some impact felt at Target. And I know last week we talked
Mhm.
about this and somebody came on the show and was saying, well, actually, it wasn't the 15 billion, wasn't about this, that, and the third. Let me tell you something right now. Elon Musk, the unelected president of the United States, lies every day and uses his platform full of lies to influence people's thoughts and behavior. So guess what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to steal the joy of Black people reveling in how they choose to interact with Target because Black people are removing their dollars from Target. And
Right.
Target is feeling the impact of those
It's
dollars.
working.
It is working. So whether or not it's 15 billion and 15 billion was tied to some other foolishness Target did or didn't do, I don't care. Because you know what? It's $15 billion for Black people standing together. That's what it is.
Right. Right.
And fight me. If
Right.
you want to
Yeah.
tell me it's something different, fight me. That's okay. MAGA people are impenetrable to facts. So I'm going to remain impenetrable to whatever facts may be about this. Black people did $15 billion worth of damage to Target, and
Mhm.
Target can kick rocks.
A
Because
lot of
Costco ain't
people
never true.
will. A lot of people will see the causation. And welcome back, Sam. You know what? I
Yes,
forgot to say this.
Sam's
Good to
back.
see you, Samuel. Good to have you back. Glad you're gonna be able to make the show live. Howsomever, Anthony Turner was once again in here before we were. I pulled in the studio and already saw Anthony. Like, yeah, let's get it. Like, bro, I feel like he comes and puts in a comment and then go live his life.
Go to make
That's
a
what he
sandwich.
does. He goes to the club, gets the bracelet, then goes home, shower, have his drinks, and then he shows back up. That's what
It
Anthony does.
reminds me of back when I was a kid and I used, you turn on a Luther song would come on the radio, right? And you might hear skibbity and your grandma would be like, "Oh baby, that's my song. Run down to the corner store and get me a package of Virginia Slims. Get you a sandwich and a boiled egg and a popsicle and a pack of Black and Milds. Bring that to me." And by the time you got back, he was just starting. Well, all right.
Right?
That vamp. And Luther's song was 15, 30 minutes easy.
Yeah, it was.
Right. It was sort of boom, 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 boom. And then like you could cook dinner
You
and come
can.
back.
Listen,
I
Yeah,
when
all
Luther's
set
song comes
already.
on, I go do my taxes. By the time I come back, it's like
Mhm.
you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's that same song.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I do want to go back to
Morning, got the data got to get me started. I did my taxes, washed my car, and I was broken hearted. I mean, it's just like you can do whatever to a Luther song and
I
still
do
have
want to
enough
get
fun.
back into the discussion around like Target and the boycotts and all that other kind of
Yeah.
stuff though, because to your point, Tom, whatever for whatever reason Target lost 15 billion. They lost it while we were doing this. And
Sure
a
did.
lot of people believe in causation. If they
Mm-hmm.
see something happen and then right after that something else happened, this must have caused that. If I go outside and it stops raining, I did that.
Yeah.
Yep. If I look up and I'm like, you better not, and it stopped, I got juice.
Where's
Right.
the lie?
I frequent Target because there are a couple of them here in West LA and West Hollywood are my accounts. So I have to go inside the stores and merchandise. It's my product.
Mhm.
And I have never seen so many, I guess, brown models, I should say,
Mhm.
on all of their walls. You know how they have those big cutouts of people, what merchandise
Uh-huh.
wearing their products? Pretty much, I want to say 70% all brown. I'm
Yeah.
seeing the commercials, the ads, they're really
On
targeting
YouTube.
us.
Yep.
So it's getting to them. They're seeing that this revenue is shrinking and they're trying to find a way to call us back in. Now, along with that, I saw a bunch of people who didn't really know they were slaves, in the words of Harriet Tubman, that were like there, you know. And I was like, that we get not the remote, or are we just going to just do our own thing?
And that's what I want to address. Yeah. I saw the video that was going around talking about the not the bus boycott, but I want to say it was the porters or the steel. It was another the garbage man's boycott that lasted a lot longer. They were boycotting and during the integration and sit-ins and stuff, they were boycotting certain stores, and people who crossed that line and went in that store got their name in the black paper. Like, you know, Martha Jenkins was in the store on Saturday and you were shunned by the neighborhood. We need to get back into shunning. And also I need people to recognize that it takes some doing, it takes some sacrifice, but the sacrifice is minimal. I need you to go to Kroger instead of Target. I need you to drive an extra 5 minutes to get what you need. And honestly, I've had these conversations in my circles, and people like Gail just mentioned, I got it. I'm embarrassed to say the amount of money I've saved since 125 by not shopping. Yeah. The unnecessary spending that we were doing. And a lot of people are saying the same thing. Like, what did I really need from Target? And the answer is nothing. If I need some cheap clothes, I can go to Old Navy. If I need some groceries, like, you know, toilet paper and sundries, I can go to Kroger or Costco. If I want fresh produce, I'm going to the farmer's market. And every city where there's black people, there's a farmer's market somewhere. You might take you 20 minutes to get there, but go, right? Because you're also supporting smaller businesses.
And I saw one of the funnier videos I saw, because first of all, if you want to really revel in pettiness, go to the TikTok that Target has, because they're posting all these videos and people are lighting the comments up. Take you a glass of wine and go to TikTok.com and go to @Target and just click on any video, because the comments are a bad news buffet for them. But I saw a video that I thought was really funny. It's a black man talking to his wife. Wife is off camera, and he's talking about the margarita machine. And he's like, oh, it's Margarita Monday, blah, 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 blah. And she said, oh, hey, baby, where'd you get it? And he said, oh, I that store over there. You mean the Best Buy? No. But, I mean, what difference does it make, baby? We got it now. She said, well, I want to get one from my mama. She ain't been able to find it anywhere. And she finally figures out that he got it from Target. He's like, just do shop at Target. Like, baby, I mean, and so she really got in him and on him about it. And he says, well, I mean, do you want to return the machine? Then she said, what's done is done, but you can't go back. And so people are really taking it seriously. And given the financial situation that everybody's about to find themselves in, if you don't need to spend the Target upcharge for the convenience of there being a Target, because it's damn near
every block.
Yeah.
You will actually save money by not shopping at Target.
Yeah. That's what a lot of people are noticing. They were like, why was I going to Target in the first place?
In the first
place.
little
5% off deal when the price is 8% higher. I'm still spending more money.
Exactly. No, it doesn't make any sense. And so now that model has a hole blown in it, just like Elon Musk's credibility, there's no reason to go back. You just don't need to go. And there's a Target that is 2.5 miles, straight shot, 2.5 miles from my house.
Yeah. And this is the byproduct effect of all of these protests and like initiatives that we're doing. We see like, wait a minute, I know we're doing this for this effort right here, but I'm actually saving money. So when we go back into, integrating with the world, we'll be a little bit more mindful as to the money that we're spending in different places. So these are the residual effects that we're not thinking about as we go into these boycotts.
Right.
And you make a really good point, Jermaine. Like, I was having a conversation about the convenience of it all. Like, one of my friends was like, I was in Target like 2-3 times a week, because it was convenient to go and buy whatever I needed from Target. And we talked about, breaking it down, get your clothes from Old Navy, get your gadgets from Best Buy, get your, sundries from Kroger or Costco, whatever. And she's like, yeah, but I got to go 3 different places. I was like, you just said you was going to Target 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Go to 3 different places once a week.
Once a week.
You go to Costco, you ain't got to go back in there for like a month and a half.
Hell no.
You sure
Not
don't.
if you do it right.
Mm-hmm.
No. And I mean, like she said, there are certain things in Costco for those of you who don't have a Costco membership, or for those of you who think everything at a bulk store is ungodly amounts. First of all, you know what never expires? Toilet paper and paper towels. They never aren't
They do
fresh.
get powdery though.
I mean,
yeah,
but they stay, and you put that. You got a toilet paper towel closet. You can also stack paper plates that you get from Costco. You buy paper plates. If you live alone, you can buy 1 stack of paper plates at Costco for a year.
Yeah,
and be straight. And then as far as other things, yes, you might get a bag of individually frozen chicken breasts, right? But they will not go bad before you use them. There's only 12, 13 of them things. And so if you're eating
get
chicken,
home, get your gross of Ziploc bags that you bought from Costco, and then split those up and put 1 in each. And because I was doing the same thing from the farmer's market, you can get a whole chicken, unbutchered, skinless, from the farmer's market here, and come home and butcher it yourself. And that whole chicken is like $8.
Right.
And now I've got 2 legs, 2 thighs, 2 legs, and 2 wings and whatever for $8. That is a $1 a piece, right? I'm saving money by doing that.
Yeah, that's cheaper. It's certainly cheaper than KFC. You can't get out of a KFC or a Popeyes with 2 pieces of chicken for less than like $7, $8. So
I'm gonna need you to forward me the YouTube video on how to cut up a chicken, guys. Because
I will give it to you.
They got plenty of YouTube videos on that, Brett. What are you kidding?
I don't know.
What's her name? Julia Child been doing that for 60 years.
I will say my favorite video is by Alton Brown. The guy used to do that TV show Good Eats. Because he takes a dinosaur bone carcass, like because dinosaurs are the predecessors to chickens, and he takes a dinosaur skeleton, like a little miniature, and takes the head off and the tail off. He goes, "This is a chicken," and then he shows you how to go around and debone and everything. And he even shows you how to make the difference between broth and stock and how to make all of it. So it's a whole show. I'll send it to you. But that's also one of the other things that we need to get back into is maybe not, I live in the city, so I'm not about to plant a garden on the sidewalk, but I can have, thyme and mint and sage or what have you in little plants and have all the little spices, although spices are at the farmer's market. I've realized I don't need to go to Target for anything. The CVS that I get my medicine from is inside the Target, but that's a CVS inside the Target. I can go get my medicine from CVS, honestly, and my medicine's only $2 anyway. So I can go to CVS, get my medicine, and walk right back out. And when I was in there to get my medicine, I noticed that wasn't not nary person in there. And also, I know I sound a little scattered, but another argument that I've heard around these boycotts, because I used to think, one day isn't going to do anything, but I'm coming to understand that it can be the beginning of something if you actually change your behavior. If you just don't buy gas on Thursday, but you're going to buy gas on Friday, it doesn't do much if you're going right back to the same behavior. But what we're talking about is boycotting and changing your behavior, not going back, not going back in. Right? Exactly, Anthony. CVS is its own entity, and they don't give Target much money other than rent, I guess. But anyway, recognizing what you don't need, recognizing how much of a spontaneous spender you've been, how much we have fallen victim to the, I need that. No, you don't. Somebody mentioned earlier that they were treating Target like the uppity stop to my house, and somebody else said that they were going to utilize my backstop and live without for a little bit. Like if you've got, especially for Black women and hair care products, because Target did a pretty good job of having a good Black hair care section. Everything they have, you can get from Ulta. Everything they have, you can get from Sally Beauty Supply. I know because I've gone to Sally's and Ulta carries big bottles. And for me, with conditioner, that big bottle is only going to last me a month or 2 anyway. So I might as well go to Ulta and get my big bottle, my bigger value, or I can order it directly from As I Am, Curly Girls, Miss Jessie, whatever. They all have websites. And then they will deliver it to you. It will feel like Amazon, who we also are not trying to use right now. You can order stuff directly and get it shipped to you, because guess what? You paying shipping anyway. If you got Amazon Prime, you paying $129 a year to get free shipping. Yeah. And Amazon Music or Amazon Video, whatever. You can get rid of that too and just order directly from people. And most of the time, if I order $50 worth of stuff, I get free shipping from them anyway. And my hair care stuff is worth $50 anyway, or I'll just buy a bunch of it. There's ways to still have the convenience that you want in your life, or maybe a little bit more inconvenience, but for a good reason, for a good cause. Last thing I want to address on the Target thing. People saying, why are you boycotting Target and you're not boycotting Home Depot or Sam's Club? They've been on that bullshit. Yes, they've been on that. I haven't gone to Home Depot in years.
Hell no.
Right.
Lowe's.
There's nothing left to boycott.
And a wall.
Right. Not to mention Target, even though they've come back and try to roll it back, like, oh, we were just playing black people, happy black, whatever. We trusted you. Yeah. We championed you every year for Pride Month and Black History Month. Yeah. We would talk about
over Walmart.
Over Walmart. We talked about how y'all did a good job, how y'all was standing 10 toes down for us. We would purposely go in there. We got into the habit of this spontaneous spending at Target because y'all was Target, right? Y'all was our boy, our homegirl, whatever you want to call it. And then you turned your back on us at the drop of a dime, because nobody really pressured Target into dropping their DI. They were not a government contract. Right. Or anything. They just like, let's let that go and see what happens. Well, here's what happens. Well, and now Target you're not coming back because you broke our trust. You broke our hearts.
Target led the way. The corporate office in Minneapolis, they were the first one. Then came General Mills and all these other corporations. So they were like the prototype that people were modeling how to respond to the reckoning that was happening in 2020. So to see them roll back and dial back in such a massive way that they did, when they didn't have to, it did feel like a betrayal.
Yeah,
it just did.
Yeah. I'm seeing the same thing. They tried it and they're learning. No more Target. Mm-hmm.
No, it's just not. It's just not necessary. And some people have said back when we actually did own our own things before angry white mobs stole what we had built and then
burned it,
and then integration made it possible for us to get access to other spaces. We were doing okay until we got bothered. Mm-hmm. The community was stronger. There were lots of things we were fine. But, it's one of the consequences of becoming part of an integrated society that there are inevitably going to be some challenges. And we have faced some of those challenges generationally. And now we are learning that there are other ways for us to be, and we can be centered in our strength and act in a way that is affirming and demonstrating our worth and power. And people are about to find out, because you know what? It's interesting. I was not absolutely convinced when this person was elected that things would go as cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs as they have. I wasn't absolutely convinced. I really did think that the puppet masters and the billionaire oligarch class would have a tighter leash on him. But he is unbound id. And now people are beginning to see, oh, geez, what are we going to do? Like this whole thing about, I'm not going to show it because it's abhorrent. But this clown posted an AI video.
Oh, God.
About developing Gaza that is so disgusting and disturbing. And I mean, it's clearly AI, but even the lyrics and everything about it, literal golden statues, literal bloated golden
idols,
loon heads. I mean, he's sitting in a deck chair next to Bibi. You've got Elon Musk eating hummus. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting and horrible. Hey, Ian.
Do y'all remember the Left Behind series of Christian books that came out like 20 years ago?
Uh-huh.
We're living in that. Like I remember them having the presidential or the leader, the person in there, create golden statues of himself, and even like slit some animal's neck in a synagogue. So it was like really offensive and really crazy, and people just went along with it because they wanted to believe what they wanted to believe. They got sucked into that cult of personality, and the crazier he was, the more they rode with it until people started to wake up. They talked about getting basically microchips, to have the mark of the beast, and it was a chip or a mark or something you could scan and pay for things. I'm like, that sounds a whole lot like what Google or some Microsoft is trying to do. But we're there. This man, that video, he created graven images of himself for you to worship.
And let's talk a bit about what the resistance is doing, because I don't want the next 2 years or 16, 18 months to be just complaining about him. So let's talk briefly about the resistance. So federal judges have been having a field day with all of these things. And
they've been doing their job.
Yeah.
They have been doing their job. And for Elon, first of all, I am more and more convinced that Elon is no less unbound and idiotic than Trump. He's just another of these people who stumbled into some lucky bets and has traded on it. And there was a report of a congressperson who was talking, because there's all these committee hearings and stuff like this going on, and they were talking about Doggy and what Felon was doing, and he literally said, "Do you know how much Elon Musk makes in a day?"
Yeah.
And the woman said no, and he said $8 million from the federal government, not how much he makes in general, how much he makes from the federal government every day. $8 million. And he said, "Do you know what the average amount that your grandmother, who's getting Social Security, do you know what she has to live on in a day?" And the woman didn't know. And he said $65 a day.
That's it.
If you cut Elon Musk's government subsidized contracts, that would be $3 billion a year. And you're sitting here talking about pretend people, and there's 150-year-olds getting a check. And this is the problem with someone like Elon Musk and like Donald Trump. First of all, neither of them care a whit about the truth. And so anything that they think sounds good is automatically, yes, a day.
Yeah.
A day. $8 million a day from the federal government. And so anything that they think makes them sound good or whatever, they run with it. And so Elon found the COBOL error that was, putting in a date. If there wasn't a date in the field, it just generated a date. And so that was where he was getting that information
150
from.
years old, yeah.
150 years old. But what he didn't care to do, and none of his little genius 19-year-olds cared to do, was to research the fact that in 2015, the Social Security Service said, if you're older than 115, your checks stop. Sorry.
Right.
You don't get a check.
You should have died.
There's no 100, right. There's no 116-year-old even getting a check who is a legitimate person who may still be living if there is one. After 115, that was 2015. So there's no 150, there's no 116-year-old person getting a check. You didn't know what you were doing. And so you spread this lie. And now the lie is out there, because the way it goes now is Elon tweets, Fox picks it up, everybody else picks it up in that blogosphere. And so by the time it's been disproven, it's already been imprinted in the brains of the idiots who consume that as their primary news source. And then it doesn't matter if it's true or not, because even if they come back, well, that's fake news.
You're just hating.
Until your benefits get cut.
Yeah.
When your benefits get cut, because there's already people talking about, well, wait, my SNAP's gone, my Section 8's gone, my food stamp's gone, my WIC is gone. And I was promised lower grocery prices, and the grocery prices aren't lower.
Eggs is $9.
Hell yeah. And they're predicted to go up even 41% more this year, too, as a result of this avian bird flu. But this is my whole issue with the entire Elon Musk-gated effect, I should say. I feel as though I understand why Trump is so beholden to him, because he got him where he is. But these Republicans in the House and in the Senate, what is their rope that they're hanging on. I don't understand that. Is there like something that they're getting, a kickback that we don't know about that's going to be later found out? They just have no spine? Because these are people that are hearing from their constituents even now in town halls, they're like losing their shit because they're seeing how these jobs are being wiped away, how nothing is being dramatically reduced as far as cost of living. So I don't understand what benefits these Republicans in these districts to continue with this regime that's keeping their people just steady in dire straits when they can easily just push back and like just vote no on this thing. I don't understand what they're tied to.
It's easier than you think. Musk only spent $200 million to get Trump elected.
Mm-hmm.
You know how much it costs to flip a House election?
So you think they were all grandfathered in with Trump winning as well?
I think they are afraid that if they stand up, Musk will primary them, and whoever he primaries will beat them.
In this climate,
because he's got the money. It doesn't matter what are they going to do? Are they going to risk it?
Because here's the other thing: the Republicans, and to some extent the Democrats too. A lot of our elected officials in DC have done fuck all for the last 7 to 10 years. And they don't really have, some of them, not all of them, maybe we'll call it 55%, have just been fucking around up there, causing sound bites, absentee voting on stuff, not voting on other things, voting party line, doing whatever they're told because it's a cushy job. And I stand by that. It's a cushy job. And so they've got no resume to run on. And they've tied their wagon so, concretely to Trump and MAGA and the Republican Party writ large, because we recognize that there are Republicans that are not Trumpers, but the Republican Party, the GOP as a whole, that's where all the money is. You want to run for re-election, you got to stick with them. Your job back home probably ain't there because you've been a congressman or whatever for 10 years. And so people are riding that gravy train because it's a cushy job and they'd rather stay comfortable. And right now, comfortable is vote the way your GOP leaders tell you to vote, which the Democrats do the same thing. A lot of them vote the way they're told to vote. There's a little bit more grousing and holdouts on that side, but only a little bit, and so they're afraid, like Tom said, they're afraid to go against everything because they've seen people not only get death threats, sometimes actual assassination attempts, but get voted out. Like you said, if they primary them, they've got no resume to run them to say, look at what I've done for y'all, because they haven't done anything for their constituents in years.
So you're saying that all this noise that these constituents are making, the ones that are so upset with all these cuts that are going on, they're going to turn around when it comes for election time and vote the same way, even though they've been shown a very example as to why they shouldn't have voted this way in the first place. I'm
not even saying that. I think they may be likely to respond to a Democratic message. Right. I'm just saying that the people who are in the position, this is not the Republican Party of the Reagan era. These aren't people who actually have qualifications, skills, or capabilities. These are people who rode on the coattails of saying yes to Trump and being beholden to Trump. They don't actually have any skills. They don't actually know how to legislate. They haven't actually passed any bills. They don't perform well on committees. They grandstand, make clowns of themselves, and then go home and pretend like, well, Trump says it's good, so we're all good, right? And so they're going to these town halls and they're getting shouted down and they don't understand. You've got some legacy people, but a lot of legacy people that said, look, I'm just not running again. I'm good. Mitch McConnell finally announced he's not seeking re-election, although, come on. I don't think anybody believed that. But
he's going to disappear one night when the ground opens up and swallows him whole.
I mean, the bottom line is you have a bunch of cowards in that party.
Cowards.
They're cowards. They don't want to even risk protecting their own job. It's just like the people who voted against their interests. They're voting against their own interests because if they vote against Trump, then Trump starts yelling about them. Now, it'll take one or two ballsy people for Trump to start yelling about your congressman doesn't know what he's doing. And then the people in their constituency saying, thank you for standing up for us. And if that starts to happen, and he starts to get penalized, and some of these people grow a pair, then maybe you'll see some differentiation. But right now, the Senate is approving all the people. You got a measles death in Texas first domestic death from measles in more than a decade, even though RFK was partially responsible for the outbreak in Samoa that killed like 83 people, I think. And you've got RFK saying, well, we have measles outbreaks every year. It was considered extinct.
Yeah, it was. It was eradicated.
Until this anti-vax BS started rearing its ugly head. So we've got a situation where interpersonal cowardice is a big part of what the challenge is with these Republicans. And it's going to take either somebody doing something marginally appropriate for their constituents, for Trump to come in and make a statement. And some people are going to be like, well, this person should have listened to Trump. But more people are going to say, nah, my taxes are about to be higher.
Right.
And that's what I feel like is building now. I feel like people are actually watching what's happening as opposed to listening to what they're saying. That's what their resistance is all about.
Because you're right, because it's actually happening to them. Exactly. And every day I hear another story of some person whose MAGA uncle or MAGA brother or son or whatever, sister has said, well, I didn't know that they were going to do that to me. And the person's like, I fucking told you they were going to do it to you. And you didn't believe me. I remember having this conversation with a woman that worked for me back in Texas in 2016. And I was like, he's going to cut your Social Security. Well, they would never touch Social Security. And Roe v. Wade is secure. And you know what? She unfriended me a couple months ago because I was right, and she didn't have the courage to come back and admit I was right. You know, it sucks to be you, Trick, but it is what it is. And I'm seeing so many people wake up to, wait, what? Not me though. Yes, you. There's a beautiful video of I don't wish ill on anyone. Howsoever, the video of the Venezuelan woman who was all, we love Mr. Trump. And then here we are 6 months later. I feel betrayed. We told you he was going to betray you. Yeah. He's betrayed everybody he's ever dealt with. What made you think you were special? You're not. And now that they've used you to get in, they're going to deport you and your family. Congratulations. You fucked yourself.
Well, they're saying that this is more so not necessarily race issue. This is more of a class issue. He's looking out for his fellow billionaires. And if you're not a part of that, you're just asked out. And
that's another thing. People, like I've said before, there are people that think they're rich and they don't realize they're not. Yeah. If you have $6 million in banks and trusts and whatever, you are not rich. You just got money. Yeah. Rich, the way they talk about rich is I could buy Poland. Yeah, or Iceland, or at least an island off the coast of Georgia. I could buy that today with the cash in my checking account. If you don't sign someone else's check, you don't really got no money. Sure. Right. And so a lot of them think that they are upper class or rich or the elite. No, you're not. You're not even a part of the 10%, let alone the 1%.
1%.
Right.
And the crazy thing is, there are people uninformed, underinformed, and just dumb people who think that they're actually getting a tax cut. And there was a guy who had a hot take. All you libs, if you don't like America and you don't like Donald Trump, then you stick with Biden's tax plan and you don't get the Trump tax cuts. And the guy pointed to a chart. If you're making less than $360,000 a year, your taxes are going up.
Hell yeah.
There is no Trump tax cut. He told you that, but he's cutting taxes for billionaires by $4 trillion. Mm-hmm. So there's got to be some get back. And he's not raising your taxes by $4 trillion. You ain't got $4 trillion to raise. Sure. But everybody's going to be paying a little bit more. So if you make $150,000 a year or whatever, your taxes are going up by $1,400.
It's called a squeeze.
Yeah.
You're getting squeezed. So, it remains to be seen. The Supreme Court did a little fooly-wang. They didn't really rule in his favor. They just said that one of the freezes that was insisted on by a federal judge, they basically put a hold on it to give folks a chance to resolve it. to figure out a little bit more, get some questions answered. So it didn't exactly go in his favor, but it did not go in his favor, basically.
Sam, I want to amend your statement here. You said these people chose chaos over normalcy. No, they chose chaos over equality.
Exactly.
Yep.
They would rather burn it all to the ground and salt the earth than let me grow something on that land. Like that's how they are. Yeah. And that's how they've been, you know?
Well, I was actually glad to see another reversal by the judges, and I think it's just temporary. You guys should be familiar with it, the USDA 1890 National Scholars Program.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was actually, I think it was stayed by the judges, or it might have been reversed. I don't know the exact definition what was actually happened. But my brother, you know, he went to Prairie View, and he was a recipient of those scholarships. Exactly. So I was glad to see that was actually reinstated. But I wonder, like, is it a Band-Aid, or is it like, well, what's happening with these judges reversal? Like, what is that giving us? A little bit more time to get a freaking, you know, a House majority as far as Democrats? Like, what is going on with these judge reversals? Is that what that is?
Everything that Trump has been doing, well, not everything, but a good portion of what he's been doing is illegal. Okay. And that's another thing we talk about, the cowardice of the GOP. They know what he's doing. If they went to law school, which most of them have some law background, they know what he's doing is illegal. Some of the newer ones don't know crap about the Constitution, so they don't know that he doesn't have the power to to create a department and give them clearance. You know, he doesn't have the freedom or the ability to do all of that, and so Musk should have never been let in that building to get to people's Social Security information. But people just let it happen because most Americans are used to the system taking care of things. Right. They expect, well, if this is happening, it must be right because he came over here. It sounds like it's legit, and they let it happen without protesting it. No, you got some people who are like, I refuse to leave my job. You're going to pry it out my cold dead hand. And they still working because guess what? They were right. You cannot get rid of them like that. Yeah. Other people who are already fed up with it were like, oh, I'm fired. Oh, I'm out. And you can't find them nuclear people right now. They on vacation forever.
And along with that, a lot of things that Musk is doing, you know, he's doing because he's just fucking idiot and he just doesn't understand how this government works. You mentioned that they can't find these nuclear people. He had to rehire the people who did the testing devices on the, you know, the things that we use to perform surgeries on. Yeah. All those things that, like, he's just gotten rid of people, not understanding that these people are very key to keeping our society safe. The whole Ebola team he got rid of and realized, wait a minute, we need these people back because they were freaking tracking data as to keep this disease eradicated. Mm-hmm. So they're pretty much like loose in like China shops right now, not knowing what's going on in the name of, you know, trimming the fat.
They fired people in every department that might have been investigating him or might have given him some competition. You know, and so he was paving the way. Matter of fact, I remember reading something that said Trump tried to funnel like $400 million of taxpayer money to Elon out of one of these groups that they cut from, it was always the plan. It's always been a grift. It's always been, let me in the house so I can go through your safe and steal all your money.
So wait, speaking to that 400 million, because that contract has been canceled, but let's get back to the real story of that, because when the $4 million armored Tesla thing came out, the first thing that came out within 24 hours was, well, this was a Biden contract. Biden authorized the purchase of all these Tesla vehicles. Right. What has now come out is that it was $483,000. And Trump and Musk went in, changed it to 400 million and backdated it to Biden so it could fall under Biden. Wow. Like Biden had done it until they got called out on it.
They cook in the books.
Once they got called out on it, then they had to cancel it because it was just a lie. Here's the other thing. They're talking about the transparency of that division of governmental efficiency. I will not use the acronym because it promotes another coin for that he's highly leveraged in. So they say that they found all of this waste and fraud. Well, again, thank you to the free press. They went and they did an analysis. The top 5 things that were supposed savings that represented 75% of the savings. It was all bullshit. Mm-hmm. There was one thing that was 8 million, and they credited it as 8 billion.
Yeah.
So they
Then
had
there
to
were some other things that they were like, we closed all these accounts, but turns out those are mandatory payment. So they canceled the contract or whatever, but they still got to pay the money. Now you're paying money and you're not getting the service.
Well, and the other part is that a lot of these things, the majority of the payment had already been made in previous administrations. So you're claiming savings of the full amount when 70% of the full amount has already been spent.
Right.
So you're not even saving. First of all, you're not saving the remaining 30% because you got to pay it. Mm-hmm. But now you're also losing all of the savings you claimed you had because those monies had already been spent. And so once you took away all of the errors, it went from 8 billion to a questionable 2 billion. And even that is up in the air because you just don't know. They talk about how transparent they are, but you had to take it off the website.
Yeah.
Because it was full of lies.
Mm-hmm. It seemed as though they just went to their job descriptions and just looked at their random job descriptions and then decided that this job isn't accessible, this job isn't needed, within the federal government, not understanding what's between the lines in these job descriptions. That's why they pretty much.
Not even that, because the job description for the energy department specifically said, and we also know where to stockpile of all nuclear weapons are. Like they would have told you if you read their job description that's why they have to have clearance. That's why they're so vetted that you need them. They're firing people based off, that sounds like something that can get in my way. I'm firing everybody in energy because I don't want them checking up on holding me accountable for my trash ass cyber vehicles. Or I'm firing everybody in FAA because I don't want them messing with my jets and my SpaceX or whatever. I'm firing all these other people over here so that I can get this contract and privatize all of this. And then, oh wait, I don't know how to do any of this because I'm actually an idiot. Hey, do you want to come back to work? I saw the tweet. He's like, hey, anybody like that used to work for the FAA, if you're bored at home and retired, you should consider coming back to work.
Yeah.
It was a real tweet.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, and we're all grown-ups. Can you imagine a time in your life where once a week a plane almost crashed?
We are definitely feeling it. Yeah, like I've traveled a lot the last couple. So I got several delays coming back from Ghana in JFK. The flight out of Africa was fine.
Right.
The flight from New York to Atlanta delayed 4.5 hours because of issues and background. And then I flew out Tuesday and had to fly back to Atlanta today. Both flights were delayed. I have not experienced as many delays, and it's not equipment. It's we don't have a runway.
We don't have enough people.
We don't have enough people. We're waiting on another person to show up.
Yeah.
Somebody had to go off rotation. When I landed in Atlanta early this morning, we had to sit on the tarmac from landing for 35 minutes because they couldn't get us a gate to get off the plane.
Well, what's going on now, Joy? There's an abundance of caution on the people that are working. So they're second guessing things that they would normally just routinely go.
Very true.
And it's causing things to be a lot more delayed because they don't want an accident on their watch. So a lot of that is kind of factored in.
They almost crashed the entire Gonzaga men's basketball team.
Yes. That
happened like yesterday or 2 days ago. And so you see the video and you hear the air traffic control, stop. And then the plane goes back up. Same thing that happened with the Southwest flight. Southwest was coming in the direct path of the runway where they were supposed to land. Another plane was taxiing. And so he saw it, had the presence of mind to pull up, and he pulled up and averted it. But folks, if it had been nighttime,
done.
And he didn't have that, 25 seconds of visibility to say, holy shit, is that a plane on the runway? I got to pull up. What if it had been night?
Yeah.
He might not have seen it until the damn lights from the plane are right up on it. And so people who are going to, already we've lost way too many lives domestically. Already we've had a scenario straight out of Denzel Washington's Oscar-nominated Flight where a plane literally flipped over. This is not normal.
Mm-mm.
And you think that just the FAA thing alone would be like, you know what? We need to chill. Any reasonable, rational person would have said, you know what? Stop. There has to be a methodology. You can't just go in here and just start swinging, your micro penis around trying to shut everything down. We need to take a measured approach. We need to consult some people. Is it possible that air travel, which, you've got way too many bodies in way too many spaces in all time, 24 hours a day, maybe let's leave that one alone. Let's leave the people who are flying the planes alone. Mm-hmm. And while we're on the topic of savings, because we're jumping around, it's almost like I'm addicted to ketamine or something. You have folks who are literally Trump flying to the Super Bowl and the Daytona 500.
Yeah.
It was like $225 million, which is more than like what the entire Park Service budget was or something.
Right.
For him to make those two goofy appearances and help the Chiefs lose.
Mm-hmm. And get booed.
Right, and get booed. But that $225 million is the entire budget for the Forestry Service or whatever. And so you're complaining about savings and you're acting an ass. Just like in your first term, where you spent damn near half the time at Mar-a-Lago playing golf instead of doing your damn job. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, you're happy during your first cabinet meeting to have Elon Musk be the first person to speak, to have Elon Musk towering over you.
An unelected, uncleared official.
Unelected, unconfirmed official who apparently, according to them, isn't even running the Department of Governmental Efficiency.
Right. The way they found a random woman to pin that shit on was wild.
A random woman on vacation with her kids in another country.
He even had a spotlight at the first cabinet meeting yesterday, guys.
It's ridiculous.
Wait, what?
Wait. Somebody was ordering a burger in a plane. See.
So I take it he means like whoever was supposed to be at the desk.
Are you
was
talking
ordering
about the
a burger
with the patients? They were
care
flighting patients in New Mexico. Is that the one you're talking about? Because it kind of crashed in a neighborhood. They were care flighting patients.
Why do I have to now Google Philly burger FAA?
I feel like that's the one he was talking about. I didn't know the burger part of the story. I just know a plane did crash in Philly. It was right after the one American Airlines in a fighter jet, like a couple of days after that.
Yeah, that's the one he's talking about.
Okay, I know he was ordering a burger. My God, he had sick patients on that damn plane. What you doing ordering a burger?
Right, you can't wait till his plane lands.
Jeez, precious commodity.
I mean, if he'd been on duty for 48 hours and hadn't eaten in 12 hours, I mean,
yeah.
And it didn't have
that's another thing. People that don't understand manpower or understand efficiency, like 10 to 25% redundancy breeds better efficiency. You need people to overlap. You need people to be able to spell folks or to, pick up a shift or pick up when somebody's sick or whatever. When you run so lean that somebody goes to the bathroom and somebody orders a burger and there's nobody else to wash the desk, you don't have enough people. But just to say, well, we have one person that's working from 10 to 4. Okay, he gets up and go to the bathroom and 10 planes crash. You should have 2 people in that room, and so there's a lot of that going on too, where they because they don't really understand organizational effectiveness, they are making cuts and doing stuff.
Or they just don't understand the governmental effectiveness, Joyce. Mm-hmm. That's basically what it is. Because the hurtness that all this fallout has happened, I mean, it's only been 35 days, 36, 37 days, something like that? With all of these cuts. Yeah, and all these cuts within these major organizations that we have wholly depended on, the fallout has been so massive. So you would think there would be a more, course correction, but I guess they're just digging in until they get all the money that they possibly can, because it does seem that they're up against the clock as to why they're moving so fast. And I don't know if they're racing against public opinion or they're racing against, the bottom falling out or what, but they are moving at a hurried pace and we are seeing the results of it in real time.
You're right.
Yeah.
So Sam said it was somebody who was ordering a burger on the ground, saw the plane, he caught it on camera in his neighborhood.
Got
I was like, where's the burger coming from on the plane? That's why I was
right. Yeah. So I backtrack about the whole ordering a burger, and that was a whole different thing. But still, if you can't get them to go to the bathroom because you're the only one in the tower, that's fucking crazy.
I'm sick of these mother frying burgers on this mother frying plane.
Silly.
So among the things that we're also dealing with, Carolyn Leavitt, the youngest ever White House press secretary, has been personally sued by not NPR,
AP, Associated
AP. And it really does seem, between the town halls and the coverage that the town halls are getting and the stories about how, quote unquote, DEI, when they didn't realize that disabled veterans are DEI hires too.
That's it.
And
anybody that's not a straight white Christian male is a DEI hire.
Yeah.
And even the straight white Christian males who are veterans are DEI because they're disabled.
Yes.
So you're cutting a lot deeper than you thought.
When they started cutting HUD, they didn't realize, because HUD. So here again, just like we said that the main beneficiaries of DEI have been white women and disabled veterans who are white men. And so a lot of times when they were supposed to be like setting aside jobs for historically underutilized businesses, they would find the one white guy who like got his earlobe cut off and now he's a disabled vet or whatever, and give them all the contracts, and all that shit's gone now. And these white people out here with these MAGA hats on I forgot that my business was registered under my wife, and they cut it. I forgot that I was registered as a disabled veteran, and they cut me too, because they just hear the D. They think D stands for dick, apparently, for big black dicks.
Diversity, exactly. Well, what they failed to do is it's actually DEIA, and the A stands for accessibility, and that that speaks to the disabled people, the veterans. So with them eliminating the A, nobody thought that they was actually included when they actually had this whole DEIA thing when it rolled out. Mm-hmm. So I guess it gave people the inclination that, well, okay, it must be black people when it says DEI, because there's diversity, it has to have a black face on it.
Right.
That's what they thought.
Yeah. I mean, anytime I tell people, I say, listen, anytime there's a freaking ramp and there's like a freaking cutaway in a ramp, that's DEI. Anytime there's a ramp into a building so you can get a changing table in the bathroom, that's DEI. It's not
accessible
the
family medical leave is DEI. Yeah, maternity leave, in-house care, all of that.
They have, I mean, anytime they want to like trash something, they will paint it black and put Shaquanda or Jerome on the billboard, and all of a sudden it's the worst thing in the world.
Personal health days.
Yes.
DEI.
I mean, so
the freaking governor of Texas depends on DEI to do his job.
Does. and so here's yet another thing that we are dealing with in terms of scandals and how DEI and immigration are conflating in this week. So Trump, thinking he's clever, said, I'll charge $5 million for any person rich enough to get a gold card, which fast tracks them to U.S. citizenship. Yeah. So there are plenty of Russian criminals who have $5 million. If you watch John Wick, you know that.
Right.
So you're saying you don't want criminals, but you'll give anybody who has $5 million, you'll give them a front of the line.
That's nothing but arms dealers and drug dealers.
You don't care about process. And he was literally saying, well, if we get 10 million people to pay $5 million, that's $50 trillion and so that'll cover the entire deficit. Are there 10 million drug dealers that have that much liquidity in the world? Like, I wouldn't have imagined so. But he just doesn't care because A, it's not going to happen. Right. But the hypocrisy, if you've got money, then we want you. Even if you're going to use that leverage to bring in, fentanyl.
Yeah.
So you've got that happening. And Andrew Tate, of all people.
Oh, my God.
The United States pressed Romania to release Andrew Tate. Big surprise, since he's a sexual assaulter, birds of a feather. But you're talking about despicable people. So once again, he's already a citizen, but you're having him get special treatment to come back to the United States.
Yeah.
You're inviting a criminal who is being held by another country for his crimes. And you invited him back, but you're deporting people who are undocumented.
Right.
Who
are actually paying their
now
tax.
people can't afford and paying taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And Marjorie Taylor Greene's dumb Tesla stock buying ass is sitting here saying that federal employees are paid by taxpayer dollars. Girl, honey, sweetie,
You're a federal.
Who are you paid by?
She is the very definition of wasteful.
Is you paid by?
Yeah.
And you ain't doing anything. Do you deserve your job? Because you said no federal worker deserves their job. Federal workers pay taxes incidentally. I mean, you may consider it like a double tax payment, but they don't get their money tax free.
That's how she gets her paycheck. Good Lord.
Right. So I like how this country elected the Joker over Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
over Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm. Right. Oh, over Wonder Woman. Yep.
When did the smear against federal workers start? I mean, because I know there have this
disdain. It started
January 21st.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. All of a sudden, because when they decided to go after, drain the swamp and all the other bullshit he was talking about and all the waste and everything, then they realized they can't fire no elected officials.
Yeah.
You can't fire no congressman. You can't fire any senators. Well, let's go down the rung a little bit and just fire anybody else that lives in and around Virginia and DC.
Because the whole goal of Project 2025 was to purge all the civil service workers and replace them with loyalists. That were being groomed by these Project 20 Heritage Foundation people. And
but they didn't actually
go ahead.
But they didn't actually want to replace all of them. They wanted to trim a ton of them, and then everybody who was left replace them with loyalties.
Mm-hmm.
The loyalists. It wasn't a matter of recreating the entire government superstructure with these people, because not for nothing, you talk about DEI hires, there is not a cabinet person in this administration who has the qualifications to hold the office.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so if you're replacing people whose only qualification is yes, Mr. Trump, they're by definition not capable. And you had 20 people who were working in the digital services administration, the same geniuses from Google and Facebook and all these tech companies that came in to clean up Obamacare and the American Care Act and signups and the networks and the exchanges, and to do all this, they actually wanted to do their jobs to serve their country. And when Musk started giving them orders that they knew were both illegal and counterproductive to what their mission was, they said, no, we're good. Handle it. And the woman that they claim is over the Department of Governmental Efficiency is from that same division.
Right.
The one who's on vacation is from that place.
Mm-hmm.
And how much you want to bet she's not going to go, oh, you mean I'm in charge? Okay, so let's immediately stop everything.
Yeah.
No.
How's that going to work?
Ms. Mancine actually has a really good point. It all started with the federal employees when they realized how many federal employees are Black. That is also true. They are consistently trying to erase and just kill off Black people. Yeah. And anything that they think, anytime they think we have anything, whether we built it by ourselves or not, they don't think we deserve it. And there's a string, there's a thread of white supremacy that goes through all of this. Above and beyond what we obviously understand is you don't deserve to be proud of who you are. Yeah. You don't deserve to be happy because I don't like the way you look. How dare you look me in the eye? Remember, people used to get murdered and lynched for reckless eyeballing. Mm-hmm. How dare you try to be my equal? How dare you have more than me? That's when they start burning towns. Because remember, a lot of the lynching and everything happened during the Great Depression, which largely Black people were not affected because we weren't a part of their economic system anyway. And these gutted out white people saw Black folks dancing in flapper dresses and having a good time. It was like, no, I don't think so. Burn that shit down.
Yeah, it's an assault on upward mobility of Black people because a lot of federal workers on the East Coast, they do well. Yes. You know, to be such a very expensive part of the country to live in, they're able to carve out a nice middle class life. Mm-hmm. So you would think that this was a redoing of what they did back in Tulsa, but just a more of a modernized version of it, just getting rid of,
It's exactly what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
This is a good point. Yeah, this is Chan. Ironically,
Chan.
that organization is demonstrating that the government may be far more efficient than pretty much anyone thought it was. Yeah. Just because you have to wait in a long line at the DMV doesn't mean that they don't get their job done.
Hell yeah.
And they got a lot of job to do.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? None of them are millionaires.
No,
I don't know any millionaire who would sit in front of some putty colored walls on an uncomfortable office chair that hasn't been swapped out in 10 years to look at your dumb ass because you don't know how to
now
fill out
serving number 18. Yep.
18B.
Mm-hmm.
I have several family members who work for the federal government, and I used to ask questions like that, like, why does everything take so long? Why do you move at such a glacial pace? And that's because there's just a lot of T's to cross and a lot of I's to dot whenever you're dealing with something federally. Because you have to make sure that everything that they freaking check, it has to be accounted for, it has to be truthful. Because that stuff can fall down on who? The person that's actually serving them. So that's why
And you know what?
Yeah.
You know how many times I've had to go back to the DMV to fix an error?
Oh my God. Like I'm
0.
not 5'10".
Right. But you're right, Bob. They will never admit that they were wrong about the efficiency of the government because their whole platform is the government is trash and we're going to make it better. And all they've done is consistently make it worse every day, drain all of our taxpayer money into Elon's pockets, and set it on fire, basically, because I don't know what he's doing with everything, and obstruct things from getting done. And folks are starting to feel it, like we said, left and right. It started with the planes. You're going to start to see other infrastructure and transportation issues. It's probably going to be the next thing to pop up. Then you're going to start to see inefficiencies in government spending at the state level. Like whatever funding they get from the government, all of that is going to be tangled up all the hell and back, which is where we talked about being like SNAP and WIC and things like that being affected. Shelters, the very orphanages that they want all these kids, since you can't have an abortion, you got to go spit these kids out. All those orphanages are going to close because they're all state funded.
Yeah, hospitals.
Hospitals, especially in the rural areas that overwhelmingly voted for Trump. All your hospitals about to close. They don't like, they want you to die.
I keep thinking that, you know, when people right now, people are talking about getting their refunds, and I feel like they're only getting their refunds as a result of these places that are like kind of set up to give you the refund in place of the government giving their money. Mm-hmm. But I feel like when people start getting their refunds in mass and they're not getting them, I feel like that's going to be a big bubble as to, wait a minute, this government is not working as efficiently as it has been.
I mean, I have a colleague on another podcast who said he filed his taxes on Monday and got his return on Tuesday. And I was like, damn.
How do you do that?
I'm just saying, that's what he said.
Oh, okay.
And they fired all of these IRS people. But part of it is just like, you know, people were wondering, well, how are you supposed to respond with these 5 bullet points of what you did? How is that going to ensure that you got your job? And so what they figured out is that they're going to have AI examine. And if AI says this answer is childish, this answer is whatever, this doesn't enough, this isn't enough work, this isn't this, that, and the third, you're going to go. So my guess is that AI says, yep, you're good, fine, cut the check. Because they know somebody who makes $70,000 a year ain't jipping nobody.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't have said that. They are not cheating.
Thank you. Good.
Apologize. So, it's insanity what we are doing, and come on, $5,000.
Get my $5,000 check from.
I need to buy 2 cartons of eggs. So $5,000. So it really is. We are living in the upside down.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Elon is. I don't even know what that creature with the big teeth and stuff. That creature.
The Gorgatron.
That thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's that or if he's the Varna from the last season who be crumpling up people's bodies as they listen to Joni Mitchell. But there's a lot going on, and I am partially heartened, at least, by these federal courts. And I wish I could be heartened by some people on the GOP side in the House who wouldn't just completely abandon any pretense of trying to do their actual jobs just for the sake of being cool with him. But we've got this horrible situation where Mike Johnson is playing so cut to the bone with his House majority, he can't even let Elise Stefanik be confirmed as the UN secretary.
Yeah.
I mean, UN ambassador. Because he needs her vote. And he knows that her vote is going to flip to the Dems when she's replaced.
You're right.
He knows it.
Yeah.
And we've already got this special election where these 2 other seats are on the table. So
But those are Trumpy districts. I was looking at that this morning, and I'll say they're very red.
They are, but like we said last week, special elections are low turnout elections. They aren't going to run out, especially if they're feeling bad because they went to a town hall and their goofy ass rep told them, "Don't worry, Trump's going to fix everything." I ain't got no job no more. If you lost your job, you're not supporting a Republican in that special election.
True.
Try it if you want. I bet you they won't. And even if they just sit home, the Democrats being motivated will overwhelm. And all it takes is that one chamber to flip. The one chamber to flip is a hard bolt. Because you know Hakeem Jeffries is not with the shits. As soon as there's a House majority, everything is done. And you've got this government shutdown looming in 2 weeks.
Right.
And he's going to need the Democrats for that. They've already talked about it.
And the Democrats have already said, yeah, but no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
You know who I want to see flex, though? Because you know spring break is coming up. You know all these little white kids love to run to Mexico every year spring break. I want to see them flex like a motherfucker. I want them to make them wait before entry and make them wait even longer in customs on the way back.
Yes, I want them to be barred. I want them to be barred from entering Mexico on the grounds that too many young Americans have been radicalized, and that there's a high possibility of radical Christian extremists in their groups, and they are no longer welcome in Mexico or any other country. I want them.
I want the policía to have cocaine dealing plants at every resort. And I want these little kids to be thinking they're going to have fun and then get caught all the way up.
Yes.
With a badge.
Right.
Crying home to their mom.
Right. Mama, I was just trying to. We are trying to restrict the flow of drugs into America.
I want them profiled the minute they step off the
right.
Listen.
All these Dartmouth kids down here being mules. And so we detained them all. But don't worry, your kid's in a good cage right there at the border.
Why? I just got a suspicion. That's all.
We got some cages left over.
Marie makes a statement. Let's see if the Dems gonna stand on business. Girl, they're not.
We gonna do it right. Jasmine's doing a lot of heavy lifting.
I really do feel that there's a good chance that we are going to see that the Democrats are going to hold fast, because Trump is already doing so much to destroy the country. The government shutdown, if you fired a whole bunch of federal employees, the government shutdown isn't going to impact as many Democrats as it would if it weren't the situation. So you got 2 weeks to figure it out. But if the government does shut down, that amount of pain is not going to be as bad as, potentially stopping the agenda in its tracks. So.
And the Republicans don't want that on their watch. So.
Right.
Well, they'd rather cut Medicaid.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Senate doesn't want that. The Senate version of the bill did not have that.
Yeah, John Thune already spoke against that. But then he was kind of talking out of both sides of his mouth, too, because it was reported that him and Mike Johnson were in a meeting with the administration, and they had all agreed on what came out of the House. But then he put out a statement saying that it's going to be looked at as far as what they came out with. So I don't know what John Thune is up to. So I don't,
Yeah, you're right, Sam. I need the whole Democratic Party to give me the energy of Representative Crockett.
Yeah,
once a week.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not made that way.
No,
they're not. She's actually the new breed. I'm actually her, Maxwell Frost, AOC. She speaks, but the Elizabeth Warren types, as much as she was a renegade, she doesn't have that vibrato that was really needed. You kind of have to talk to them in layman's terms, kind of almost hood,
I mean, Ayanna Presley brought that fire this week.
She did. She did. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole squad is on one.
So that's where we're at politically, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. I am energized by the continued resistance to being in the front by the 92%. Matter of fact, the 8% of Black women that either didn't vote or voted for Trump are mad at the 92% now because they say that we're being selfish.
Oh, and is that what they're saying?
Our desire to like not be first or not jump out in front is really just cowardice, covering up the fact that we don't have a political agenda, what have you.
Like that.
Nice cut.
They don't want you to sacrifice. They want you to sacrifice your body and get out in
the
front
response
of those protest line and take those rubber bullets.
Right. They want me to take the first draw to spill first blood. I think the fuck not. And the women that were saying those kind of things, when I tell you, dragged by their lace front through
I bet they were.
the internet.
You mean you didn't knit yourself a pussy hat this time around, Joy?
Not even. Not even. The way I sat, matter of fact, me and these, this is off topic, but this is the kind of thing that has been happening more and more whenever I get on Threads or Instagram or what have you. Y'all heard about the Black guy that got killed by his white girlfriend?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then lied about it.
A recent one or
it was recent. He got killed by his white girlfriend, and then she lied about the circumstances, saying that she was trying to clean her gun and it was an accident.
Oh, come on.
And so everybody was like, how come Black people aren't protesting for this unlawful killing? Because at first they didn't want to arrest her. They just let it be an accident and let it be done. And somebody was like, check his receipts. And he had things in there like, I would have sex with a dog before I have sex with a Black woman. And yes. And I would kill for with a picture of him and his white girl. I would kill for her. I would die for her, and something else. Well, you found out, didn't you? And so no, we ain't protesting for him either. And so they were like, this is dividing the Black community. He left the Black community a long time ago.
He divided nothing.
Oh, I just thought about it. Guess who's going to be considering running for senator in Mitch McConnell's place?
Who?
Cameron.
Girl.
I
don't know if the woman who ran against who ran for the other seat.
Oh yes, I forget her name.
Is going to military veteran. Yeah. I don't know if she's going to try to run for what's his name. But listen, it's too important. Find you a white man, please. Yeah. Find a white male Democrat for that seat. Because they're racist enough not to elect Cameron.
Yeah.
If a white man is running. Don't give them the option of going with misogyny. Let's take that Senate seat, please.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's one that we can't give up. And it's the best pickup opportunity because he had a stranglehold. There was no chance. Even although since he's been bucking Trump, there could have been a chance if he wanted to extend, but there's no way he can run again. He's done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so
stand up straight.
Correct. So I would take Bashir running for the seat. Leave the governorship to run for the damn Senate. But we need somebody. We need a white male. I hate to say it. We need a white male.
You got to pick your battles,
pick your battles.
If we need to like take a step back from having minority representation in certain places in order to make sure that the democracy doesn't fall, and let the less bad white people do some things, let them do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've seen time and time again that the world they still don't like Black people. They're just tolerating us while we're here.
I'm still Team Buttigieg. I would like to see him run for president.
I like him too. But then I worry about him for certain seats. It's like, it might be a little sketchy because how are we feeling about gay people in certain positions?
True.
Buttigieg is unquestionably a uniquely qualified person. He is knowledgeable about all the issues. He has a diplomatic way of interacting with people. I saw a video of him as like either a junior high or a high school senior or a high school student who posed a question that sounded like it should have come from the Senate gallery. Oh, Byron Donald, no.
Governor of Florida.
Florida.
That ain't happening. Ron DeSantis is is promoting his wife to take his spot.
That is fucking ridiculous.
And he shanked Byron Donalds. Not to say that Ron DeSantis is some paragon of electability. He was the heir apparent. Remember when Elon Musk was actually behind DeSantis before he imploded? Elon Musk felt that maybe DeSantis was somebody who could be a partner, not a puppet, an actual partner. Because he's pulling Trump's strings now, because Trump is an idiot. But with DeSantis, DeSantis is craven and DeSantis is calculating. And so, he would see the advantages of working with an oligarch with unlimited funding to do it.
You know what?
Oh, are they?
You make a good point about this. So Pete Buttigieg is a gay man. He's married and he has 2 adopted Black children. And so from a liberal standpoint, you've got the adjacency that a lot of allies like. He's still white. He's still a white man who, for some people who take things perceive things in a different way, he does not read as the stereotype that people assume a gay man will read. You know what I mean? And so they can disassociate that in their mind. You can't disassociate Kamala Harris's Blackness because you see it every time you look at her. But people can look at Buttigieg and conveniently forget that he is a very proud gay man. But then you have him supporting the LGBTQ community because he's a member of it. You have him with 2 adopted Black children. So you would assume that he would at least have some interest of Black people in mind. He could make a run for it, being the unicorn that we're looking for, the white guy who also is liberal, but also actually knows the government and also ticks a lot of boxes for a lot of special interests in the Democratic Party. He could pull that off.
But there's always a ceiling, when it comes to gay representation overall. They only get so high. They just do, because some people just can't get it past in their minds. And this is with Black folk too.
Yes.
Yes. Because he's this. This is how high I'm willing to see him. I can't promote him above this because it compromises, some of my integrity. And that's just truth.
Yeah, you're right. And so there's that homophobia, and then similar to the misogyny that Kamala had to face. Yeah. Some people I just can't see a woman doing this. The whole stupid shit people say, well, she gets on her period, she's gonna start a war. Yeah. Baby, she's been off that for years. Menopause hit, she's good with that. But also, that's what I meant when I said people will conveniently forget the details of his life because they will not. When he speaks, he's super powerful. Yeah, he is. And a lot of people that engage in homophobic ideas assume erroneously that a gay man lacks spine or backbone or power, whatever. They always think that they're some sort of pushover. And I'm speaking of the observations I've made of people that have said stupid fucking things to me, around it. I'm like, okay, I hear you, get away from me. But I think that when misogyny is still strong, and I don't think we should put up a woman at all next time around. I love Kamala, but she did what she could. We betrayed her. We fumbled the bag with her. If I were her, I would not put myself up to get hurt like that again because I've done enough for y'all. Y'all can go to hell. But
right.
And I honestly don't think she will.
I don't think she will.
I don't think she will either.
But then of the white men that are available, I think he's got the best credentials.
More so than Gavin Newsom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It depends.
Gavin Newsom's profile right now is, remember he was debating DeSantis was that a couple of years ago? Out of nowhere, him and DeSantis were having debates and he was going to Florida and doing huge campaigns on ads in Florida. So I feel like he's been slowly pretty much building his momentum, because I don't know who else we would even run at this point. I mean, we should be grooming them now, and we haven't heard any names. I know it's too early, but I feel like it's him, because that's like the only national Democratic name that fits that, description, white man, who I'm seeing.
Yeah, Phil makes a good point. Them damn black churches are part of the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But then we'll divorce ourselves from certain things when we absolutely have to, because
yes, when we absolutely have to. And that was the point. Thank you for bringing that back around. That's the point I was trying to say. People will conveniently forget that over and over again in order to hold their nose and vote. You know what I mean?
Because Black folks, we live in a very patriarchal mindset too, but we were willing to get behind her as our president because of the moment that we were in.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of which, you guys know about the SAVE Act that they've been trying to push?
No, tell me.
Well, the SAVE Act is pretty much what it is. It's another way of trying to voter suppression. It's this whole initiative as to where, in order to vote, your name must match your birth certificate.
And if you're missing a period, you can't vote.
So they're trying to possibly use this as a way to backdoor into disenfranchising a lot of women into not being able to vote, especially married women for the most part. So I don't know when the vote is coming up, but a lot of people like pushing initiatives as to like vote no on this, a very, very hard line. But I'm wondering, do you guys feel like that's like, I know it's a part of the whole white nationalist ideology to live in this whole patriarchal system because they feel like the man is pretty much the head of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where we are even on that side, or is that going to be a bridge too far?
No, they're trying to actively remove the right to vote from women. They're actively trying to do that one way or another. They're trying to raise the age limit so they can get rid of a lot of the young voters to 21. They're trying to disenfranchise women.
Yeah, it is. They won't be able to do. That's a constitutional protection. Okay. So they'd have that's a heavy load to lift. But not for nothing, there are 6 seasons of Handmaid's Tale on Hulu.
Oh, it passed.
Describing the plan.
I didn't know it passed.
Well, of course it
only
passed.
In the House, but
right. Oh. I am prayerful that Murkowski and Collins and McConnell,
because they would be like blowing up their careers if they did that.
Yeah. I'm Joni Ernst. I would hope any female senator would do that.
Yeah.
So I want to before we get out of here, I want to offer everyone homework. I've been talking about this book for a minute. It's a book called Babel by R.F. Kuang. And it's a fictional book, but the reason I'm asking everybody to read it is the revelation I had when I was reading it was it's a really good expose on colonialism and the fact that the people who do all the colonizing can't do nothing for themselves. Everything they need from somebody else. They use brute force to take it. And most of the people being colonized are burned alive by degrees. I'm going to take this indignity. I'm going to deal with this insult. I'm going to deal with a little bit more. And then next thing you know, your whole country's been colonized. And sometimes you help them do it because you were there trying to assimilate or aspire to this whiteness that was never good enough. It was never as good as your original homeland. They needed everything you had. They came and stole it all and then told you that you were an idiot and you weren't dumb and your ways were backward, but they steady stealing your resources, your people, your labor, your intelligence. We don't need them. And the book drives that home for me in an interesting way because it's an action fiction book, etc. But read Babel and then come back and we're going to talk about it. But that's where I am in my mindset right now. We don't really need white people for nothing. Yeah. What do they do? What do they create that really helps the world? Because if your inventions only bring you money, you're leeching off the world. If your invention, and before the patents became a thing, people would invent stuff and just give it away because it helped everybody. Why would I not share my fire with you? That's stupid. I need everybody to have fire so we can all live better versus fire is going to be $1.99 an hour. Right.
But true colonization to me is still mythical in my mind, because if you really how do you disdain and want to subjugate people but need them at the same time? Like, if you hate me that much, why am I preparing your food? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's the idiot at the border saying, "Get out of my country and go make me a taco."
Yeah.
Because when you are not considered human, you can be tasked with things. You're a mule, right? You attach a tractor. Those, back before you had tractors, you put the implement in the ground and you strapped it to a mule. You wouldn't invite the mule into your house, but you're happy to use the mule as a beast of burden to get it done because you can't do it. You're not physically capable of doing it, but a mule can.
Right.
And so if you're not perceived as human, you're like an anthropomorphic Mufasa.
Right.
You
know what? The analogy is in Wicked. They had the animals, capital A, the animals. And so here's a intelligent being that can speak and has feelings and families and everything, and actually is teaching colleges, but all you see is an animal.
Right.
Right. That's the way they see us. And that's another thing. They're like, oh, Wicked is woke. Wicked been woke. Wicked was written in a very woke way. You just didn't pay attention because all the lead characters on Broadway were white. And then the minute they put a black girl in as Elphaba, all of a sudden, why is it so political? Because you see yourself now. You see how you've been acting. Yeah.
Jane Fonda had a beautiful definition of woke at the SAG Awards last week. She said woke is just nothing but the idea that you give a damn about somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it went viral. I thought that was a beautiful clip from her last week.
Jane Fonda been a real one since she was burning
bras.
Yeah.
She's been burning bras a long time. And she will urge you to get arrested. She goes, have you been arrested? We haven't done enough. She literally asked me if I was arrested. I said, I haven't. She goes, well, you haven't done enough. I'm like, okay,
I mean, coming from Jane Fonda, what's she supposed to say?
I was a little miffed by it. I was like, I ain't trying to get nothing on my record.
There you go. Thank you for putting that chat in there, putting that in the chat. Shout out to Gene Hackman and his wife.
Did they kind of figure out what happened with them?
They have not, but it's certainly not as adenine as they originally were saying. There's some sketchiness in what's going on. So they'll figure that out. And also on a much more somber note, each of us are members of a D9 organization, and a young man who tragically lost his life at Southern University. Folks, as much as I love my organization, this is another time for us to reflect on the practices which do not need to take place in order to foster brotherhood or a fellowship predicated on the notions that we all said we were about.
Right. There's no place.
There's no place. And, I have two sons, and, some of my line brothers have sons who have entered the fraternity as well. And all I know is that if anything happened to my child because of some foolishness, it would be super problematic for anybody who was even marginally adjacent to it. So,
I'm going to jail on multiple counts.
Oh yeah.
Things will be burned down.
Yes.
So
I cannot stand that mentality that says, because I'm a couple of years older than you and I got in this organization, 18 months before you did, that I can treat you like an animal, like cattle, like a inanimate object to be toyed with. All of that. Matter of fact, one of the things that I remember my sorority doing, at this point, 15 years ago, was some of us, not all, because some people didn't agree with it, but I did, sign a pledge. I will snitch the fuck out of any woman that I find that is doing something that I think doesn't align with the values of my organization. Let me hear about it. Let me hear a whisper of it. I'm reporting you, her, and them two over there. I report everyone, and I've done it a couple of times.
And there are lots of conversations happening in lots of D9 groups right now all over the internet. And the notion that people are defending or saying, well, we don't know what happened, or
It
blah, blah,
sounds
blah,
real.
blah.
Sounds real white.
I'm super not trying to hear you, bro. I'm super not trying to hear you. This was a guy who was in the band. Yeah. This is a guy who was doing band practice every day, carrying his instrument across the field, doing those complex formations, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, where he shouldn't have been, there is no excuse. I'm really not trying to. I understand, but no, I'm not waiting for an official whatever. If he weren't there, then he wouldn't have expired there in the presence of the fraternity. If he had passed in his room, or if he had passed on the band field in full supervision of grown-ups who have the authority to monitor him, that would be one thing. But where he was, when he was, you don't get to argue that point with me.
It's giving rolled up in the gym mat. You know what I'm saying?
Listen.
It's not uncommon for a lot of, especially undergrad chapters, to have divides in the organizations on each yard as to who was willing to do this and who was willing not to.
Yeah.
And that happened a lot during my time, not just on my yard, but I believe San Marcos. It used to be called it's called Texas State now, but I forgot what it's called back in the day. They had a divide as to who was willing to and who wasn't, and they were all made at the time. So it causes major complications in the chapter. And real talk, that's one of the reasons why I went inactive, because I just didn't want to get caught up in it, because we had been surveilled. And our regional vice president, Harry Johnson, at the time, had came and said, listen, your purpose at the University of Texas is to graduate and get out. And once he told me that, I heard him loud and clear. So a lot of my brothers ended up graduating from PB because they stayed with it, because UT kicked them out. So I do understand it, and I know about this all too well. Nobody expired, as a result of what happened, but there were some injuries that were sustained.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to give the impression that I believe in any way, and it wasn't my organization, but anytime it happens in any organization, it is not my belief that it is ever
reflects us all. Yeah,
it does. But also, I do not believe it is intentional. I don't believe anybody tries to go about this with the intention of causing that level of tragedy.
Right.
But
I hear what you're saying, but for generations at this point, we have been saying, as different organizations, these things are unlawful. These things have no part. And so you may not have tried to have him lose his life, but you tried to do some bullshit. And if you had just not tried that, he might be alive right now.
Right.
And if it turns out that there was some other congenital issue, something else, just a matter of time, he still wouldn't have been out on that field at 3 a.m.
Exactly. So, and again, I am not at all trying to posit that I think in any way that this was appropriate. And I'm not trying to defend the practice at all. I want to be clear on that. What I am saying is that young people, especially young people who are under the age of 21, have inflated opinions about their invulnerability. I'm 21. I carry this sousaphone across the field all damn day. I can do the splits with this bitch, blah, blah, blah. And so you think that you don't have any limits. And when you participate in a process that is designed to
break you down,
you even then, you're strong. You can do it. You can endure. And the 99 out of 100 that endure and are able to move on, that's great. But the one is 1,000 too many.
Yep.
I'm gonna just say it like this. That cop who put his knee on George Floyd's neck didn't expect him to die. He was just doing some bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he did, but
he had done it before for even longer. And it was a younger guy, and that kid just traumatized but alive. And so he thought, I've done this before. I know how this goes. That's why he could look so arrogant when he was looking at people in the cameras, people were filming him, and he just looked up like, I don't give a fuck, because in his mind, nothing's really bad is going to happen. But you doing something you know you shouldn't be doing.
You shouldn't be doing.
And that's where it ends for me. You know you have no business doing that. There are processes laid out. Stick with that. Why you got to make up all this other stupid shit to prove something that doesn't have to be proven? Life is hard enough.
It is. So rest, young man. Godspeed you to your heavenly rest. And
this is a great point. I'm not trying to get eaten by sharks, but if you put me in the water with sharks, I will get eaten by sharks.
I love that, Samuel, and good to see you. So glad you're back.
Yeah, so glad you're back. All right, folks.
Oscar predictions, real quick. Chalamet, Best Actor. Demi Moore, Best Actress. Kieran Culkin, Supporting Actor. Zoe Saldana, Best Supporting Actress.
I haven't seen any of these movies.
I know. Best Picture. I'm gonna say
I was like, Chalamet, Demi Moore, what the hell was she?
And I'm gonna go
in the substance
and say Ramel Ross for Nickel Boys will get Best Director.
Okay. I'm
going out on a limb because he's been winning.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be a nice one, because I agree. When Carla Sofia kind of fell from grace, it opened the door for Demi, and Cynthia has another bite next year for the same role. And
you think that's why they're holding out on her this year?
I'm not saying I think that's why they're holding. I think it has more to do with Demi is not going to be nominated.
I thought that too. I was like, maybe they're holding out on her for next year because you know.
Well, like I say, had it not been stacked the way it's stacked, and Carla was getting all the heat for Emilia Perez, but when that became impossible, now you've got Demi Moore. It's one of those things where a long-standing Hollywood great who hasn't been really awarded did this brave body horror movie, which is a commentary on the industry. So it's navel gazing. So the industry loves that. And this is her last shot. She's not going to get another nomination probably. Yeah. So you can say, I can reward Cynthia next year, and I can throw my support to Demi, who did this thing, which is a brave face on what all Hollywood actors go through. Yeah. And you know, they love a story like that. So I do agree that it's probably going to be Demi. Before I knew what the nominations were, I was like, well, Cynthia Erivo is definitely getting a nomination. And as far as I'm concerned, she did the most with a role because, as others have said, she is singing and acting her ass off and flying.
Yeah.
While singing. That woman is an actor. Yeah. She is killing it. And nobody else had, well, I guess the cast of Emilia Perez had to do it. But the more I hear, I watched 5 minutes at the beginning, and then my daughter was like, it is horrible, but watch this song to show how horrible it was. And it was the Vaginoplasty song, which is the only song that's sung in English. Yeah. And I was like, this is trash. Like, I didn't even understand what the whole, I mean, I knew the premise involved a drug dealer who transitions, but I didn't understand that the songs and the singing was so bad.
Yeah.
And
I just don't know why it had to be a musical. I'm like, why does it have to be a musical?
It sounds like I don't want to watch this at all. I do want to say before we get out of here, hats off to my sorority sister, Joy Reid, for a great run for as long as she lasted. A lot of Black voices silenced in the last 30 days across MSNBC and a couple other networks where just Black folks just like, we out. Either being asked to step down and given the dignity to resign, or being ousted as Joy was. And her last show was excellent, as excellent as any show before it. Don Lemon's been gone for a minute, but zero fucks Don Lemon out here on Threads and stuff is acting a whole ass, and I'm here for it. He actually got sexier when he stopped giving a damn.
Well, and what I will say, I will give Rachel Maddow, who I really do like. Mm-hmm. When I say she stood on business and talked shit about her employer,
right? She sat in their living room
on behalf of Joy Reid. She was like, nah. and literally said, I have been gainfully employed since I was 12 years old, and there is no one I respect or admire more than my colleague Joy Reid.
Yeah.
And I was like, go on with your bad self. Speaking of which, Joy, if you want to talk to us,
right?
on
If
Steel
you
Sharp
I
and
bored,
know.
you want to come hang out?
Our platform. We'll
we could use another Delta on the show.
All we need is 5 good minutes. If that's all you got,
Yep.
we'll take them.
Just come
5 minutes every week. So we'll give you your minute, Joy. You can have as many. Oh, 2 joys.
Yes.
It's Joy squared. Joy squared and Delta squared. Come on, let's make this happen.
Girl. Let's do this.
Anybody who knows Joy Reid, tell her Steel Sharp and Steel is looking for her. And
Right.
we'll take you. We'll take Lester Holt.
Yep.
We'll take
Don Lemon. Look, we can't pay, but I cook a mean gumbo, so I'll feed you.
Me too.
Yes.
If you're in LA, I cook a mean gumbo. Don shit. We'll handle business. So we are in a situation where these voices are they're dumping her. Because she has a nightly show after the 100 days, she's just going to go on for once a week. And so it remains to be seen, because we've still got 60 more days in that first 100 days. So here's hoping that Donald Trump's 100 days ends like Thunderbolt Ross's 100 days ends in Brave New World. And he hulks out and gets sent to the raft to be in prison.
What are you saying?
Oh my God.
Wow.
We missed you, Samuel.
Yes.
You don't like Don Lemon?
All your shit talk.
Those are the thoughts and words of Sam, guys, not Steel Sharp.
Right.
Exactly. All right. So, anything else, Joy?
No, I'm good.
Anything else, Jermaine?
Happy National Blackout Day.
Right. Don't buy nothing tomorrow.
Right. We said we'd wrap it up.
Get it after the show.
Don't. And you know what? You got food in your fridge. Don't even go to the stove.
Eat them leftovers.
Tater tots that you have.
Make you a sandwich.
Right. Yeah. With the tater tots. Yeah.
Eat some of them boxed White Castle sliders you bought from the Smart and Final.
Right.
So,
that California Pizza Kitchen pizza you got in there.
But whatever you do not spend your dollars tomorrow. It is blackout day. Get by on what you got. All right? Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't use the debit card. Don't get gas. Nothing.
Stay off of Amazon.
Stay off of Amazon. Okay? No Kickstarter, nothing. All right?
If our ancestors could walk to work or catch a ride to work for a year and a half, you can stay off the damn internet and out of the stores for a day.
That's
you
all
sure
you need
can.
to do.
Mm-hmm.
And don't buy any Candy Crush passes either.
Right.
Nothing. No Roblox. Nothing. All right. I'm Tom Cunningham.
I am Joy Stevens.
I'm Jermaine Taylor.
And this is Steel Sharp and Steel. See you next week, everybody.